Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a drink, it is time for some Path of Exile discussion. I wanted to put together a really niche crafting video that is looking at crafting rings that are to be used in conjunction with Viridi's Veil. Viridi's Veil is one of those unique items that's good really early in a league, but that doesn't really fall off either. And it is the 9th most popular unique helmet for people on high level characters to have equipped in the Affliction League, and that remains the case when we filter to only look at those players who are using Mageblood, and therefore are not concerned with having Viridi's Veil as a budget option. They're open to spending a lot more currency on a helmet if they want to, but many of them still elect to use this helmet anyway. Now, a lot of the text on this encourages you to use a magic ring on your character, which is something you wouldn't normally use. Damage of enemies hitting you is unlucky while you have a magic ring equipped. That means it's rolled twice and the lower roll is counted. You are hexproof if you have a magic ring in your right ring slot, and you take no extra damage from critical strikes if you have a magic ring in the left ring slot. Now, the most common way people use Viridi's Veil is to put a magic ring in the left ring slot and then to put either a unique or a rare ring in the right ring slot. However, you are free to make up your own mind there. Now, this item's been unchanged for a while. What I want to look at though is the new manifold ring that was added in patch 3.23, which is something that drops from Heist and is pretty rare. I paid 3 divine orbs for this base, but it is something that could be a lot more expensive if you get unlucky and there's more demand for them than usual. Anyways, what we're going to do here is we're going to scour this, then use a number of fairly obscure crafting methods on this in order to generate a magic ring that is going to have very, very powerful mana mods on it. These will be scaled beyond normal limits through the use of fertile catalysts, of course, but also through the use of the manifold ring's 50% increased prefix modifier magnitudes. So, firstly, we have life and mana modifiers plus 20% on there. We are now going to be forced to elk it because you can't use a Veiled Chaos Orb on a ring that is not elked. And what we're going to do is apply a Veiled Chaos Orb and have a look at what we got there. So, we have a prefix modifier that's veiled. Let's go and unveil that and see what is available to us. Unveil items. And we're looking for the flat mana recovery option that you can get here. Now, we did not get that this time. We got a couple of damage options and we also got 57 maximum mana, regenerate some life. Now, when we do that, you'll see that it does get all of the boosts from the 50% and the 20%, but this is not what we are looking for, so we're just going to roll over that. We're looking for prefixes only, and we are looking for a very specific prefix, which is going to be regenerate 5.3 mana per second. So that's a prefix again. Let's go and take that in and see what we get. You can also improve your chances of this by blocking. And here we've got another option that we could actually use. This is 10% reduced mana cost to skills and also 90 to maximum mana. This is fine. In fact, we're going to go ahead with this because this will also solve your mana problems on a character. At this point, we're going to try and annul this down so that we have at most 2 mods and we preserve that mod. And it looks like we've lost it the first try, so that's okay. We're just going to start again. It's not like we lost anything particularly critical there. And after much messing around, we finally got it there. That was actually quite unlucky. We did eventually get it as a 2 mod rare item that has the prefix modifier chosen, which is 50 to 60 maximum life plus the mana regen per second. But because this is a manifold ring, that is amped up to 95 life and 9.1 mana per second. What we're going to do at this point is go into the bestiary and we are going to use a phenomenal plagued arachnid, which players refer to as a split beast. So we're now going to do this phenomenal plagued arachnid encounter, which is going to split the item into 2 with half the mods on each item. There are only 2 mods on this, which means that one of the items will end up as having the chosen mod, and the other one will end up having the flat energy shield mod that we probably don't care that much about. So away we go with it. We'll fight these monsters off, which is just a formality once your character is even moderately strong, and this is what we are looking for. This is a magic ring that has 95 to maximum life and 9.1 mana per second. We're going to go back to our hideout and we're going to finish the craft. And this is going to look really weird because what we're going to do is put it in the crafting bench and you'll notice that we are able to add a prefix. We cannot add a suffix, but we can add a second prefix, even though this is a magic item. And that second prefix is going to be non-channeling skills have -7 to mana cost. If we don't roll a 7, which we didn't roll a 7, we're just going to roll over it, which is only going to cost us 4 chaos and 1 of the scouring orbs each time we do it. And eventually we're going to get there. This is the ring that is designed to address any mana issues you might be having while you're playing a build with Viridi's Veil. Now, you might notice that this is something that's a fairly flexible strategy. I razor focused on one particular combination of mods, but you could do this differently. The other thing you may notice is that this is a 2 prefix configuration. You might be asking, why is that the case on a magic item? That's because of the implicits on the manifold ring. +1 prefix modifier allowed, -2 suffix modifiers allowed. Magic items by default have 1 prefix and 1 suffix as a cap. But with these in effect, it is 2 prefixes and -1 suffixes that are allowed. Now I did mention that this strategy is quite versatile. And what I mean by that is that you can do this with a manifold ring. You don't need to set it up so that you're focusing entirely on mana crafts. I mention mana because it's one of the more powerful things that you can bench craft onto a manifold ring, and it's probably one of the most powerful all-around magic rings that you can use in conjunction with Verity's Veil. But you could instead go with a suffix, and in that situation you're going to be looking to use a helical ring instead. Helical rings are much more expensive than manifold rings, but they also can be very, very strong as well. And helical rings can have mods like 51 to 58 to a particular attribute that can be added onto them via the use of an essence, and then that can get 70% increase, 20% from attribute catalysts, and a further 50% from the helical ring implicit. That can provide you with a whole suite of additional bonuses. Finally, you should keep this in mind if you're ever deciding to craft a simplex amulet or a focused amulet, because one of the advantages of being able to generate a simplex amulet or a focused amulet that is in a magic item state but that has mods on it is that then once you've done that, you can imprint it if you want, and that can be a powerful crafting tool to have in your arsenal. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. May your Val orbs have interesting results, and don't ever use them on a manifold or a helical ring because they tend to turn out pretty badly. You can't get a Val implicit on these, and so it will end in tears instead.